Hello, I'm Charles Flederman, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Community Engagement of the UNM School of Engineering, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our School of Engineering Spring 2021 virtual convocation. Normally, we hold these ceremonies in person, but sadly this year we won't be celebrating face-to-face, and so I hope you and your family and friends are able to use this video event to celebrate the accomplishments of today's graduates. A program for today's events will be posted on the School of Engineering homepage at engineering.unm.edu. Even though we're not celebrating together today, please post pictures of your graduate on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and tag hashtag UNM Engineering and hashtag UNM Grad. We are also being live streamed on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Dean of the School of Engineering, Dr. Christos Christodoulou, for some opening remarks to the School of Engineering community.
Distinguished guests, faculty, colleagues, families, and especially you, the graduating class, welcome. We are here today to celebrate your tremendous achievement of getting an engineering or a computing science degree. You should be very proud of yourselves today. Very, very proud. We are definitely proud of you and of your accomplishments. In earning your degree today, you have demonstrated that you gained new experiences and have acquired the strong engineering and computer science foundations, but most importantly, the problem-solving skills that will serve you well in the future. We know you worked very hard, in fact, very, very hard to achieve this status. You are definitely well prepared today to create innovations and tackle some of the world's most pressing challenges and secure a better tomorrow for yourselves, your family, and our entire society. You will have plenty of opportunities to make a difference and have your own impact on the world. This is the good news. The better news today is that your education doesn't stop here because you got a degree. To quote Frederick William Robertson, instruction ends in the classroom, but education ends only with life. What that means is that you must keep learning forever. To conclude, on behalf of our faculty, staff, and alumni, I congratulate you on completing this impressive task today and wish you a bright future filled with boundless success and opportunities. Congratulations, class of 2021. Next, I'd like to introduce our leadership team, the people who run actually the college, and they assist me. So first, I'd like to introduce Professor Charles Flederman, who is the Associate Dean of Academics and Community Engagement. Then Professor Idil Shamiloglu, who is the Associate Dean for Research and Innovation. Next, I really have to introduce the department chairs who really run every aspect of their departments. First, Dr. Mahmoud Taha, who is the chair of the Civil Construction Management and Environmental Engineering Department. Then Professor Darko Stefanovic, chair of Computer Science. Then Dr. Michael Devetsikiotis, chair of Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. Professor Yulin Shen, chair of the Mechanical Engineering Department. Dr. Hyung Lee, chair of the Nuclear Engineering Department. And Dr. Abaya Datye, chair of the Chemical and Biological Engineering Department. Thank you for your leadership. In addition, I would like to recognize a group which was very, very instrumental to our student success, the faculty. Students, regardless how tough you think your professors were, I am sure you will agree that your professors worked hard to give you a solid foundation for a better future. Faculty of the School of Engineering and Computing, thank you. Finally, I would like to thank one more group, our staff members in the school who have worked very hard to make your time at UNM comfortable, secure, and productive. They have performed a plethora of services of which you might or might not even be aware of. Dear staff, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, John Mark Collins. John Mark Collins earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Engineering from UNM, graduating in 2014. While a student, he was active in student organization and was an intern with Sandia National Labs. After earning his engineering degree, Collins earned a Master's of Business Administration degree from Anderson School of Management. I guess engineering was not enough for him. After holding a variety of jobs in the engineering and hospitality industries, he decided to combine his skill sets, branching out into the interactive digital experience field, first with Ideum. They then founded StoryLab. Then in 2018, he founded the Electric Playhouse. He describes Electric Playhouse as the intersection of play, art, tech, and human engagement, getting people active and playing with others in new and unique ways. It was even voted by USA Today as one of the 10 best new attractions of 2020. Although the business was closed just a few months after its debut during the pandemic, Collins is making sure Electric Playhouse rolls back in 2021 with a variety of camps for kids and some small group events planned until it is safe to open at full capacity with a full scale of in-person activities and immersive dining events. Please join me in welcoming John Marks Collins.
Thank you, Dean Christos. I'm honored to be here with you today, virtually, at this convocation for the University of New Mexico School of Engineering. I graduated from the University of New Mexico twice. Once from this school with my computer engineering degree, and once from the Anderson School of Business with my MBA. My engineering graduation was one of the proudest moments of my life, and I hope you feel the same today. An engineering degree in any discipline is a force to be reckoned with and a stepping stone to doing great things. This is particularly true in this moment in time, with the pandemic uprooting many of our tried and true systems. I wish I could tell you that my journey was all smooth sailing. It was not. In fact, it was just shy of 20 years from my first undergraduate course to my last, with a winding path along the way. Why so long? Well, thankfully, I wasn't in school all of those years, but I took classes here and there through 3 distinct phases of my education. These periods of my life are what I want to share with you today. At the beginning of my academic journey, I studied art and architecture, my first passions. While I loved bits and pieces of the education, I was disenfranchised with school, as many are after high school. I left after my first year to work and explore. I explored construction work and built custom homes. I learned how to use epoxies and assisted in building a carbon fiber experimental 4-seater airplane that flew at 500 miles an hour. I worked for Antoine Predock, the notable New Mexican architect here in Albuquerque. And I had a chance to see the School of Architecture building come to life and even climbed around the steel structure during construction. I worked on custom websites in my free time and learned all the ins and outs of web development. Eventually, I landed in the hospitality business, doing everything from bussing and waiting tables to bartending and managing. Thus officially started my second phase of education, real life. I worked for nearly 15 years in various capacities in hospitality, leading to running restaurants as the general manager in Chicago, Cleveland, and Albuquerque. I managed teams as large as 80 people responsible for aspects of sales, marketing, and HR. And while this may seem like aimless wandering, and in truth, many times it was these years that helped me gain clarity on what I was passionate about and where I wanted to go in the future. To my delight, this time away from school actually had unforeseen positive applications. The people skills and soft skills generated through all of my hospitality experience helped me land a job at Sandia Labs, if you can believe that. and all of my hospitality experience would later be put to good use as I now own and operate Electric Playhouse, a media and technology company that serendipitously incorporates a full bar and restaurant with a staff of nearly 70 full-time employees. Once my academic focus returned after my stint in hospitality, I came back to UNM for my third educational phase with renewed interest. I finished 2 degrees in 5 years with an additional art minor. I finished at the top of my class in computer engineering and was awarded the IEEE Student of the Year Award by the Albuquerque section. Somehow, nearly 20 years from the start, I had finally pulled all of my experiences together, both in and out of school, into a successful academic performance that was now the prime building block for a successful career. I share these experiences with you because it helps to illustrate several points that I would like to leave with you today about life, opportunity, and expectations. First, even if the steps along the way feel like a step in the wrong direction, it may be those very excursions that define you the most. Embrace them. Learn from them. Every experience is a chance to grow. Fail quickly and often, getting stronger every time. Second, stay curious and open-minded. The world is a wonderful place filled with wonderful people. We have seen so many people of so many different backgrounds come together during this pandemic, even during a time of crisis. Lastly, no one changed the world by following the rules. There are no rules for a pandemic, and as we have seen over the past year, it takes a lot of creative people, particularly engineers and scientists like yourselves, to think outside the box and rewrite the rule book with a new vision. Congratulations on this momentous occasion during this strange year, no less, and may your future, whatever that may be filled with wonder and meaning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins, for that great message to our graduates. At each of our School of Engineering convocations, we ask an undergraduate and a graduate student to give a short address. Our undergraduate speaker this spring is Jeremy Holder. Mr. Holder is graduating this fall with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He was born and raised on the east coast of Florida near the Kennedy Space Center. He calls it the Space Coast. He told me that he grew up watching launches of the space shuttle and other rockets, which gave him an interest in being an engineer working in space systems. He spent 6 years in the Navy as a nuclear machinist mate, mostly on the USS George Washington. After earning an associate's degree at Tidewater Community College in Virginia, he came to UNM to earn a bachelor's degree in engineering. During his time at UNM, he's been working at the Air Force Research Labs here in Albuquerque in the Space Vehicles Directorate and will continue working there now that he's graduated. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jeremy Holder.
When I started this lengthy process toward earning my bachelor's degree, the year was 2009. At the time, I lived in Norfolk, Virginia, and was attending Tidewater Community College. Cell phone apps were just materializing as an industry, while everyone scrambled to get into the smartphone craze. If I remember correctly, I was still rocking my Sprint Katana flip phone, and sometimes wish I still was. The 6 years prior, I had been in the Navy, exploring the world for the first time. I will always remember landing on the aircraft carrier on my first deployment overseas, my stomach in my throat as the plane dropped rapidly to the flight deck. My job was to safely operate 2 nuclear reactors. I used to take naps on them during shutdown. The position was incredibly taxing, mentally and physically. I often wanted to give up, walk away, and just quit. I never did, though. I'd come a long way from Rockledge, Florida, where I was raised. In Florida, I spent my youth living in a mobile home that was literally splitting in 2. For a time, we even had an alligator living underneath it. I didn't grow up in affluence, quite the opposite, and the opportunities provided were the ones I made for myself. Pretty early in my childhood, my parents noticed that I had a speech disorder. It was determined that I had a stutter, an issue in the brain that causes my speech to be disfluent. The challenges of this didn't just come from childhood jeers or adult snickering. It was the deep personal feeling that I was less than everyone else, the deeply held belief that I was stupid. While it may seem asinine to hold that belief given that I'm here, giving this speech at an engineering and computer science commencement, Those negative thoughts come from a life of fighting a losing battle every time I open my mouth. These various life occurrences, disfluency, poverty, the military, all allowed me to grow the mental fortitude I would need to tackle the even greater labor to come. Each of us today made a decision at some time and some place that went something like this. We said to ourselves, "Self, it doesn't matter what situations I've been in, or to whom I owe or do not owe my past joys or miseries. I embark today on a journey for my future dictated by me." Not only did we choose to better ourselves, we chose to do it in the hardest way possible, by earning a degree in engineering or computer science. If someone asked you what makes these degrees challenging, what would you say? What I would say, besides a lot of time and money, is the testing of one's resilience. Resilience is where determination and perseverance meet. In engineering principles, resilience relates to a material's toughness and its resistance to failure. From all my experiences, I've forged an abundance of resilience, and it's not a stretch to see each one of us as having the similar toughness that makes failing an impossibility. This failure I mention isn't the failing of an exam or class. I've done both. It's the breaking down of something so fundamental that the only option is giving up, quitting entirely. If you are here today, that means you made a decision to try again, to work one more hour on that assignment, to give everything you possibly could, just to get a C. For those of you that are family, friends, or are not School of Engineering graduates, our academic life was made up of working countless hours in front of a screen, from home, long before the pandemic came around. And as the pandemic has shown us, we are not just individuals moving around in a tiny bubble called comfort, but an interconnected web of persons called a global community. Engineering as a pursuit reveals that we are at our best when we are in league with those all over the world. In our microcosm of that world, which is the UNM School of Engineering, we grow our resiliency through encountering the experiences of those from all across this spaceship we call Earth. We use the language of engineering to pursue the shared focus of making tomorrow better than today. A heartfelt congratulations to all the engineering and computer science majors graduating today. Thank you.
The Georgie Brees Award is given each semester to the graduating senior in the School of Engineering who has attained the highest grade point average over the last 2 years of his or her degree program. The award consists of a certificate and a cash award of $300. This year's winner is Mr. David Arnott from the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering. David's GPA is 4.3. I don't have to tell you that this means he received almost entirely A+ in all of his engineering classes. Please join me in congratulating the Spring 2021 Brees Award winner, David Arnott. And now we will begin the recognition of today's graduates who have earned the Bachelor of Science degree alphabetically. Carl Abadan, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Bassam Abu Yassine, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Robin Acosta, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. John Adams, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Samrat Adhikari, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Raisul Hassan, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Mustafa Al-Khazraji, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Gemma Alas, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Marcos Alcazar, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Trevor Amastoy, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Jose Andazola, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Benjamin Anker, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. Matthew Aragon, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. David Arnott, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Mario Avila, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Evan Babcock, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Gabriel Baca, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Nicholas Bacon, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Mallory Baeza, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Janai Beal Permel, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Eric Benfield, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Quentin Benio, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Domenica Bennett, Bachelor of Science, Construction Engineering. Lucas Bierig, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Sidney Billingsley, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Ansel Blumenthal, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Ashley Bowman, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Richard Briggs, Bachelor of Science, Computer Engineering. Felicia Bremigian, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Ryan Brown, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Nathan Burt, Bachelor of Science, Electrical Engineering. Taylor Bush, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Myra Caldera, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Christopher Carpenter, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Isaac Carrasco, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Dylan Casey, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Rafael Castro, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Noah Chacon, Bachelor of Science in Construction Management. Ming Ho Chan, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Joshua Chavez, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Anthony Chavez, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Roy Claudio, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. Janner Conde, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Ryan Cooper, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. John Coos, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Maria Cruz, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Sarah D'Angelico, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Ethan Darwin, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Nathan Davey, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Jacob DeBari, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Enrico Del Frate, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Luke Denoyer, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. James Dupree, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. David DiDonato, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Seamus Din, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Hoi Duan, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Fat Duan, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Jessica Domtralski, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Nicholas Dowdy, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Folopater Faltas, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. August Fink, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Marvin Frank, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Connor Frost, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. Alicia Galindo, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Benjamin Gallegos, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Emily Ganley, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Miguel Garcia, Bachelor of Science in Construction Management. Shriman Gautam, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Colleen Garrity, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Matthew Gervasi, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Lina Jiang, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Alexander Glick, Bachelor of Science, Electrical Engineering. Micah Gonzalez Cedillo, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Luke Gray, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Jeffrey Gray, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Antonio Griego, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Timothy Haar, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Rachel Habbing, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Sarah Hassan, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Rio Hatton, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Delaney Heileman, Bachelor of Science, Computer Engineering. Charles Helmick, Bachelor of Science, Computer Engineering. Josiah Hindera, Bachelor of Science, Nuclear Engineering. Jeremy Holder, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Tanner Hunt, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. Matthew Hydrusko, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Ederin Igaroro, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Dalton Irvin, Bachelor of Science, Nuclear Engineering. Noah Jackson, Bachelor of Science, Electrical Engineering. Mariel Jones, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering. Nirajan Joshi, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Ju Young Kang, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Rohit Kataria Taru, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Georgia Kaufman, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Sean Kelly, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Brandon Kennard, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Corey Kershaw, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Samim Khan, Bachelor of Science, Computer Engineering. Rafa Islam Kandokar Nushat, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Amun Karel, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Yebin Kim, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Zane Komenek, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Joshua Kovac, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Jack Kramer, Bachelor of Science, Electrical Engineering. David Krawczyk, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Sonji Lamachani, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Sarah Latouf Trujillo, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Ken Lay, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Rose Lee, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Cassandra Lagarda, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Daniel Lente, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Trent Llewellyn, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Jonathan Lloyd, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Anthony Lobato, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Nelson Longmire, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Dean Lopez, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Frank Laura, Bachelor of Science, Computer Engineering. Ian Lubkin, Bachelor of Science, Computer Engineering. Noah Lucero, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Gabriela Lucero, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Ricardo Lujan, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Colin Lunn, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Kevin Maresca, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Luis Martinez, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Emilio Martinez, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Riley McCarthy, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Jacob McCullough, Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. Matthew Melandy, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Rachel Mixon, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Jose Molina Villalba, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Brandon Monroy, Bachelor of Science in Construction Management. Zachary Montoya, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Mario Morford Oberst, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Zachary Morel, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. John Ng, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Hao Nguyen, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Jaden Norton, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Eva Nunez, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Isabella Obermeyer, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Mikhail Olgin, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Stephen Oliverio, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Haley Ormsby, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Dante Orona Yang, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Jonathan Ortega, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Mariah Pacheco, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Stephen Pack, Bachelor of Science in Construction Management. Makala Padilla, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Craig Perry, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Christina Patsalis, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Arlen Pedregon Quezada, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Felipe Peña, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Mark Perea, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Michael Perrin, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Durante Pioch Lee, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Mariah Pioch Lee, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Donato Piroscafo, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. David Porteous, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Matthew Powell, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Daniel Preisler, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Paul Rademacher, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Alexandria Ragsdale, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Daniel Record, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Jennifer Restrepo, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Elizabeth Rivenbark, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Matthew Roach, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Tara Robertson, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Hannah Robinson, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Diego Rodriguez, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Cayman Rogers, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Kimberly Rogi Obando, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Derek Romero, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Jared Ronquillo, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Annika Roos, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Daniel Roper, Bachelor of Science, Electrical Engineering. Sydney Roth, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Brian Ruiz, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Alejandro Ruiz Aguilera, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. David Rusk, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Gregory Ryba, Bachelor of Science, Nuclear Engineering. Hoyt Sampson, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Isaiah Sanchez, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Luis Sanchez, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Robert Sanchez, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Coleman Sandler, Bachelor of Science, Chemical Engineering. Vincent Santino, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Ranjan Sapkota, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Tony Sapradit, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Brenda Savage, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Ethan Schmidt, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Olivia Schollenberger, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Sophia Seacrest, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Ankit Shah, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Carolina Shaheen, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Samundra Sharma, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Christopher Shelton, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Alan Shen, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Alexander Shoham, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Samantha Siska, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Jessica Soto, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Carly Strickland, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Robert Stroud, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Dijar Sielajmani, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Ashley Tafoya, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Gabriela Tafoya, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Rebecca Tafoya, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Michael Tanguay, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Russell Teodoro, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Biraj Tiwari, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Christopher Torres, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Matthew Tosh, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Kyle Troach, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Janai Troy, Bachelor of Science, Mechanical Engineering. Colton Trujillo, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Ivan Trujillo, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Marcus Trujillo, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Abhinash Upreti, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Blake Upton, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Alan Valadez Arredondo, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Jacob Valdez, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Oliver Valdez, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Raquel Valdez, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Skylar Valdez, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Flora Valdez Lopez, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Aritza Valles, Bachelor of Science in Construction Management. Sergio Valora Sandoval, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Victor Valverde, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Benjamin Venatason, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Jacob Varela, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Matthew Vihil, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Philip Vilensky, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. William Wagner, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Tamara Walker, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Dylan Weathered, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Brian Weaver, Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. Greg Whitford, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Jordan Whitson, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Ronald Wood, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Natalie Yanamoto, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Rachel Young, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. And Matthew Zemlich, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. And that concludes the reading of the names of our undergraduate graduates. Our graduate speaker this spring is Ms. Angel Padilla, who will be receiving the Master of Science degree in Civil Engineering. A Taos native and graduate of Taos High School, Ms. Padilla also earned a BS degree in Civil Engineering here at UNM. During her time at UNM, Ms. Padilla has been very active in numerous student organizations, including the American Society of Civil Engineers Student Chapter, the Chi Epsilon and Tau Beta Pi Honor Societies, and most notably served as the co-captain of the Concrete Canoe Team. She's been doing her research with Professor Mahmoud Taha and also has been an intern at Los Alamos National Laboratory. After graduation, Ms. Padilla plans to continue her work at Los Alamos. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Angel Padilla.
Thank you, Dr. Flederman, for that introduction. Hello and welcome, friends, family, and graduate students of the class of 2021. Congratulations. As I was preparing to write this speech, I was scanning through the past 5 years of my life here at this great university, looking for words of wisdom or lessons learned to share with you all. But I kept coming up empty. As I was doing this, I was absent-mindedly browsing the internet when I came across a question posed on what is obviously the internet's greatest source of wisdom, otherwise known as Reddit. The question asked, "What are the non-obvious signs of a truly smart person?" And the top response answered, "Truly smart people know exactly how much they don't know, and they aren't afraid to admit it." Well, I could honestly say, if I've learned anything during my time here, it's that I truly know nothing. That's certainly not to say I didn't learn anything. I was lucky enough to be taught by some of the wisest professors I could have ever dreamed of meeting. And it's that very wisdom that led me to realize that knowing nothing is actually just a fact of life. Because knowing nothing does not mean that we don't understand anything or incapable of learning. It's simply a recognition that nothing is set in stone. The world and our understanding of it is constantly changing. So how can we claim to know anything when nothing is certain? This is an especially important lesson for us as engineers and computer scientists, because we are in some of the most rapidly changing fields. And yet, we built much of our education around problem solving and finding an answer. A single solution we can mark in a tidy little box and send off to be graded. Unfortunately, that's not quite how the world works. Because even though we know how to build a bridge for today, with changing climate patterns, new vehicles on the road, and advancing technology, we're still just learning how to build a bridge for tomorrow. And that's the most important part here. We may not have a finite end-all answer for anything, but we just have to continue to be willing to learn. Now, I know this may sound a bit cliche, but this has never been more glaringly relevant than under current circumstances. Just a year and some months ago, we all had plans and expectations for how the next year of our lives would play out. We didn't quite know what the world had in store for us. We suddenly found ourselves in a situation where everything we thought we knew about where our lives were headed was proven wrong. And I know over the past year, we have all suffered with great loss, fear, and isolation. And yet, through all of these hardships, when we so easily could have just crumbled and given up, we chose to get advanced degrees in engineering. We chose to adapt, to allow our expectations to be challenged, and to test just how resilient we are. And for that, I have no doubt that we have all come out stronger. And as we leave the comforts of UNM and the School of Engineering behind, I only hope that we carry that strength with us and never be ashamed to admit that we know nothing. Congratulations once again to the class of 2021. I wish you nothing but absolute success and happiness. Thank you.
And now we will begin the recognition of our master's and PhD graduates alphabetically. Lucenit Acosta Guio, Master of Construction Management. Marlon Frank Aguero Inhante, Master of Science in Computer Engineering.
Hello, my name is Marlon Agüero. I am graduating with a Master of Science in Computer Engineering. I am getting tutored in my home country of Peru by my mother, Juana.
Kazi Soleiman Ahmed, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, studied with Professors Svetlana Poroseva and Patrick Bridges. Joshua Allers, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering, studied with Professor Fernando Garzon. Nelson Amaya, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, advised by Professor Francesco Sorrentino. Dmitry Andreev, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Andrew Aragon, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Daniel Fizel. Malak Bani Melem, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Caleb Belchak, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering.
Hi, my name is Caleb Belchak, and today I'm getting my master's degree in biomedical engineering, and I'm being hooded by Dean Christodoulou.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, and especially my brother.
Jacob Belchak, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering, studied with Professor Nicholas Carroll.
Hi, my name is Jacob Belchak. I'm graduating with a master's degree in biomedical engineering, and I'm being hooded by Dean Christodoulou.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mark Bernard, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Nicholas Boynton, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Daniel Fizel. Zachary Brendan, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Gabriel Brown, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Alicia Bustos, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Leah Buckley. Denise Cano, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Justin Carmichael, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Lance Williams. Hector Carrillo Cabada, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Trilce Estrada Pedra. Jedediah Cardi, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Sudarman Jayawira. Jose Castellanos Ju, Master of Science in Computer Science, did his work with Professor Deepak Kapoor. Krishna Chaitanya Sima, Doctor of Philosophy in Civil Engineering, studied with Professor Susan Bogus-Halter.
Hello, my name is Krishna Chaitanya Jagadish Simha, and I'm receiving my doctoral degree in civil engineering. And I'll be hooded by my advisor, Dr. Susan Bogus-Halter.
Anthony Chavez, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Joe Chen, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Edel Shamilaglu. Zachary Clark, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Lydia Tapia. Carissa Curie, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Will Davidson, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Peter Vorobiev. Justin Davis, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Deandra DeFlora, Master of Construction Management. Juan Dominguez, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Jared Dominguez Trujillo, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Patrick Bridges. Benjamin Doty, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Murali Manohar Dugina, Master of Science in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering, studied with Professor Nathan Jackson. Jesse Duran, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Mario Esparza Perez, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, worked with Professor Marios Patikis. Noah Evans, Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science, did his work with Professor Patrick Bridges. Joseph Felix, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Idil Shamiloglu. Tyler Fensky, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Saraya Abad Mota. Daniel Freelong, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, did his work with Professor Peter Vorobiev. Cynthia Freeman, Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science, studied with Professor Abdullah Muin. Lorenza Friedrich, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Michael Gallegos, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
It's Michael Gallegos. I'm getting my Master's in Mechanical Engineering. Today, my mother, Sandra Gallegos, will be hooding me. I'd like to thank family and friends for making this possible.
Shupriyo Ghosh, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Jacob Giese, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Idil Shomiloglu. Antonio Gomez, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Marios Patikis. Lauren Gomez, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, studied with Professor Mark Stone. Jonathan Griffey, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, did his work with Professor Chris Hall. Arjun Gupta, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Christos Christodoulou. Tyler Hagengruber, Master of Science in Civil Engineering. Aislinn Handley, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Sean Luan. Teal Harbor, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, worked with Professor Nathan Jackson. Mohammed Mahdi Hassan, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, studied with Professor Rafi Tarefter. David Hensley, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, did his work with Professor Christos Christodoulou. Jesus Hernandez, Master of Science in Construction Management. Brandon Hillhouse, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Ashley Howell, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Ziri Huang, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Curtis Hunt, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, studied with Professor John Stormont. Saurav Jain, Master of Science in Construction Management.
My name is Saurav Jain, and I have successfully completed my Master's in Construction Management from the University of New Mexico School of Engineering. I've been hooded by my beautiful daughter, Jiva, and I would like to thank all the faculty members of University of New Mexico for helping me complete my graduation successfully.
Monica Jaramillo, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, worked with Professor Christos Christodoulou. Jithan Joseph, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, studied with Professor Payman Zarkesh-Ha. Anupkumar Nagaraj Joshi, Master of Science in Computer Science, worked with Professor Melanie Moses. Rahul Kaliselvan, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Matt Lakin. Aman Kara, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, studied with Professor Manel Martinez Ramon. Jordan Keeley, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, worked with Professor Christos Christodoulou. Christopher King, Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering. Kevin Kulama, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Ingrid Lane, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering, worked with Professors Shan Luan and Dvorka Gulisya. Nicholas Lauv, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Abdullah Mouin. An-Dung Le, Doctor of Philosophy in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering, studied with Professor Helen Waring. Lawrence Lung, Master of Science in Manufacturing Engineering. Kong Li, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Luo Li, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Tariq Kraishi. Jingbo Liang, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Hanbin Liu, Master of Science, Computer Engineering. Carlos Lopez, Master of Science, Biomedical Engineering.
My name is Carlos Lopez. I'm graduating with a Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering, and I'm being hooded today by my brother.
Michelle Louis, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Lydia Tapia. Robert Malakov, Doctor of Philosophy in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering, studied with Professor Randall Shunk.
I'm Robert Malacha, and I'll be achieving my PhD in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering. I'd like to thank my advisors, Dr. Randall Shunk and Dr. Crisanto Chiptapichoyo, for making this possible, as well as my friends and family. This is my mother, Ludmilla, and she'll be hooding me today.
Adam Mang, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Kane Menzira, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Michaela Marquez, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. John Madison, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering, studied with Professor Fernando Garzon. Quinn McCulloch, Doctor of Philosophy in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering, studied with Professor Andy Shreve. Bobby Merriman, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering. Sharare Mirazel, Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering, studied with Professor Susan Bogus-Halter. Mauricio Monsivies, Master of Science in Computer Science, advised by Professor Lydia Tapia.
My name is Mauricio Monsivies, and I got my master's degree in computer science. And today I'll be getting hooded by Dean Christos.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you to UNM.
Haley Monteith, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering.
Hi, my name is Haley, and I'm receiving my Master's of Science in Biomedical Engineering, and today I'm being hooded by Dean Christos.
Congratulations.
I wanted to thank my mom. I couldn't have done this without you, my brothers, and Chris.
Raymond Montoya, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Melissa Moreno, Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering.
Hello, my name is Melissa Moreno. I will be graduating with a Master's in Nuclear Engineering. Today I will be hooded by Dean Christos. I wanted to thank my mom, my family, and my boyfriend for supporting me throughout this journey.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Manoj Kumar Nanapaneni, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Shan Luan. Raghavendra Neelish Angaluri, Master of Science in Computer Science, did his work with Professor Trilce Estrada Piedra. Kayla Nelson, Doctor of Philosophy in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering. Alexander Newell, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Cameron Nichols, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Tom Nichols, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Jesus Ortega, Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering, did his work with Professor Peter Vorobiev. Irais Ortiz Caraveo, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering, worked with Dr. Diane Lidke. Rui U, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Austin Owens, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Ellis Ozakial, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering, worked with Professor Lene Ista. Angel Padilla, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, worked with Professor Mahmoud Taha.
My name is Angel Padilla. I'm graduating with a Master's in Civil Engineering today, and I will be hooded by Dean Christolou.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you to all my friends, family, and especially classmates from the School of Engineering.
Patience Raby, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, did her work with Professor Mahmoud Taha.
My name is Patience Raby. I'm getting my Master's of Science in Civil Engineering, and today my boyfriend Dominic Dunlap will be hooding me.
Kevin Pedretti, Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Engineering, advised by Professor Yin Yang. Alyssa Perea, Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering. Reza Pirayesh Shirazinizad, Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering, worked with Professor Sandra Bidron. Joshua Pritz, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Bhunaveshwar Ramalingam, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Ali Bidram. Eric Robbins, Master of Science in Civil Engineering. Jonathan Robinson, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Jed Crandall. John Saldana, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Daniel Sanchez, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Jonathan Sanchez, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Peter Vorobiev.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Sanchez. Today I will be receiving my Master's of Science in Engineering with a concentration in Mechanical Engineering. Today I will be hooded by Dean Christos.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to start off by thanking my parents, Carmen and Joe Sanchez. I also want to thank all my family and friends and coaches and teachers that have helped me along the way. You've had a part of getting me here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Jordan Sanchez, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Nikolai Skalis, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Peter Vorobiev. Thomas Schmidt, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Arjun Senthil, Master of Science in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering, studied with Professor Marek Oshinsky. Isaac Sessler, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Rafael Fierro. Bradley Scherer, Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering.
Presenting Bradley Scherer, Masters of Engineering in Civil Engineering, our dad.
He is being hooded by Dr. April Shending Curly Scherer, our mom.
Gabrielle Shipley, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Mark Gilmore. Dimitrios Sikaridis, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Michael Devetsikiotis. Sriram Sandurajan, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. David Smith, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, did his work with Professor Jane Lair. Gregory Smith, Master of Construction Management. Khalil Stoltzfus, Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Amber Sustaita, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Melanie Moses. Radha Swaminathan, Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Xiaotou Tan, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Peter Vorobiev. Sravani Tiparthi, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, studied with Professor Marios Patikis. Guillermo Terran Serrano, Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, studied with Professor Manel Martinez Ramon. Sai Aditya Taluri, Master of Science in Computer Science, worked with Professor Trilce Estrada Pedra. Sriram Totakura, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, worked with Professor Irene Tsiropoulou. Phuong Tran, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, studied with Professor Marios Patikis. Michael Trong, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Jeremy Vaughn, Doctor of Philosophy in Nuclear Engineering. Shreya Vemuganti, Doctor of Philosophy in Civil Engineering, did her work with Professor Mahmoud Taha. Makaya Weiss, Master of Science in Computer Science, advised by Professor Matt Lakin.
My name is KH Makaya Weiss. I'll be receiving my Master's in Computer Science, and holding me will be my mentor in the Computer Science Department, Roxana.
Madeline Wilson Fetro, Master of Science in Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering, advised by Professor Stephen Graves. Jamie Wingo, Master of Science in Computer Science, worked with Professor Trilce Estrada. James Woodall, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, worked with Professor Fernando Moreno. Shizhen Yan, Master of Science in Computer Engineering. Huijing Yang, Master of Science in Computer Science, studied with Professor Trilce Estrada. James Yauchison, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, studied with Professor Tariq Kraishi. And that concludes the recognition of our degree candidates for Masters and PhDs. I would like to acknowledge the contributions to the success of today's graduates provided by all of you who are viewing this ceremony today. I know how important family and friends have been to my success, and this is certainly no less true for the students completing their degrees today. Thank you to all families and friends who have joined us today. Staging an in-person graduation ceremony requires the efforts of numerous individuals. Switching to an online ceremony is 10 times harder. I'd like to acknowledge the help of the SOE staff who contributed to putting on this virtual ceremony. Kim Delker, who put together the program and some of the backgrounds, Bill Collins, who put together the website, Jamie Tillotson, who made many of the arrangements, and especially April Davidson, who went above and beyond putting this all together this year. Video of this ceremony can be replayed on the UNM Engineering Facebook page and YouTube channel. And the video production today is by Lavender. And now, subject to successful completion of the requirements for your respective degree programs, the University of New Mexico is pleased to confer upon you the degrees you've earned from the School of Engineering. I hope you're all wearing your graduation hats, since you may now move your tassels from the right side to the left side of your hat. Congratulations to the School of Engineering graduating class of Spring 2021.